In Hollywood, fame is a double-edged sword. One day, you're a hero. The next, a meme-worthy villain in a fandom war. Nowhere is this messier than in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a franchise that's turned actors into icons, and icons into lightning rods for criticism. Today, we're assembling to take a look at the ones we've loved, loathed, and everything in between. Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton has always been the MCU's least popular but most relatable hero, a family man who survives by being very good at arrows. But in 2023, Renner accidentally turned himself into a meme-worthy pariah. While promoting Hawkeye's Disney Plus series, he made a self-deprecating joke during a podcast about fan reactions to his version of the character, comparing their nitpicking to dismissiveness. The remark backfired spectacularly, sparking accusations of arrogance and indifference. Fans dug up past interviews where he'd described the MCU as creatively restrictive, further fueling the narrative that he viewed the franchise as a paycheck rather than a passion project. Suddenly, the guy who once got stabbed saving a fan's life became a poster child for ungrateful celebs. Renner later clarified he was joking. He even donated to hurricane relief after fans roasted him for prioritizing money over humanity. Yet the damage stuck. Why? Because in the age of Twitter and TikTok, nuance dies fast. Today, his post-Avengers future is unclear. But let's be real, Clint Barton's legacy is safe. It's just Renner's fandom rapport that's fractured. Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. Most fans consider RDJ as the golden god who built the MCU. He wasn't a safe choice for Tony Stark. Hollywood thought he was box office poison after his arrests. But Jon Favreau bet big, and the rest is billion-dollar history. Here's why fans adore him. He's flawed, funny, and relatable. He made a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist feel human. Fans eat up moments like when he told Tom Holland not to touch his stuff on set, or when he crashed a kid's birthday in full Iron Man gear. Off-screen, he mentored newcomers, fought for better pay for the OG Avengers, and handed Spider-Man's reins to Holland without ego. And let's not forget Endgame's finale. When Tony snapped away Thanos, fans weren't just crying for the character, they were mourning a friend. RDJ's legacy? Untouchable. And judging by his performance as Tony Stark, Downey's new character, Dr. Doom, will be nothing but iconic. Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. Back in 2018, Brie Larson, fresh off her Oscar win for Room, critiqued the lack of diversity in film criticism by pointing out the dominance of older male reviewers in shaping opinions about films like A Wrinkle in Time. Fans flipped, twisting her comments into a caricature of woke elitism. Suddenly, she wasn't Carol Danvers. She was woke Brie, the face of everything critics hate about modern Hollywood. The backlash peaked during Avengers Endgame press tours, where Larson's disinterest in fan service became apparent. Her nonchalant shrugs at questions about her chemistry with Chris Hemsworth went viral, earning her infamous status among MCU fans.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
But here's the thing. Larson's wasn't wrong. She's just bad at PR. In 2023, the Marvels flopped, and fans blamed her for everything from the script to Disney's stock prices. Yet, she leaned into the absurdity, quipping about being an easy target. Real talk? She's not the problem. The MCU's post-Endgame slump is, but in the court of public opinion, she's still public enemy number one for many, a lesson in how celebrity culture turns valid critiques into witch hunts. Tom Hiddleston, Loki. Tom Hiddleston's Loki started out as a Shakespearean baddie in the first Thor movie but became something else entirely. A gender-bending, time-hopping anti-hero who stole Thor, Ragnarok, and launched 1,000 fanfics. How? By being extra. He leaned into the role, delivering lines with exaggerated flair and a cheeky wink. Off-screen, he's the textbook charming showman, dressing as Loki for Halloween, surprising fans at premieres, and referring to his devoted followers as Loki's Army. But the real magic has to be his embrace of Loki's cult status. When fans celebrated the character as Marvel's first bisexual icon following the TV series, Hiddleston acknowledged the significance by describing Loki as a figure of fluidity in every sense. The result? A fandom that treats him like royalty, blending reverence with playful obsession. Letitia Wright, Black Panther. Back in 2020, Wright posted a video questioning the safety of COVID vaccines, citing debunked conspiracies. Fans were quick to point out the danger in spreading such claims, but she doubled down, claiming she was just asking questions. The backlash snowballed when reports claimed her anti-vax stance delayed Black Panther 2 filming. Aside from a few actors like Don Cheadle calling her out, Marvel stayed silent, but the damage stuck. Suddenly, Shuri wasn't just comic relief, she was a PR nightmare. Fast forward to Wakanda Forever. Wright's Shuri struggled to carry the emotional weight of Chadwick Boseman's legacy. Critics praised her performance, but fans griped she lacked gravitas. Was it fair? Maybe not. But in the age of influencer accountability, her off-screen actions colored how audiences saw her. Today, her future as Black Panther remains uncertain. Florence Pugh, Yelena Belkova. Florence Pugh's Yelena made everyone forget Black Widow's original star, and fans adore her for it. When Scarlett Johansson sued Disney over Black Widow's simultaneous streaming release, the fan base was split. But Florence Pugh quietly stole the show as Yelena, a sarcastic, emotionally damaged assassin with better one-liners than a Marvel dad joke. Her secret? Relatability. Pugh plays Yelena like a Gen Z therapy case. Raw, funny, and not afraid to cry on screen. In Hawkeye, her banter with Haley Steinfeld felt like hanging out with your most chaotic bestie. And in Thunderbolts, she's the moral compass of a team of villains. Critics called her performance a masterclass in balancing trauma and humor. But Pugh's real win? Zero drama. She praises her co-stars, avoids politics, and lets her work speak for itself. No fabricated quotes, no invented anecdotes, just a focus on her craft and chemistry with her co-stars. Anthony Mackie, Captain America. When Anthony Mackie took Captain America's shield in Endgame, fans cheered. Sam Wilson, a grounded, strategic hero. But the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series exposed cracks. The Flag Smashers? Yawn. Sam's preachy finale? Double yawn. Then came Mackie's off-screen missteps. He dismissed critiques of the show as overly negative and mocked demands for deeper storytelling. Ouch. Fans fired back, arguing he lacked the gravitas of Steve Rogers. And let's not forget his real-life missteps. In 2023, he criticized audiences who resisted inclusive storytelling, suggesting they simply weren't the target demographic. Intentions noble? Sure. Delivery? Could have used some work. By 2025, Captain America. Brave New World flopped, with reviews slamming Mackie's stiff performance. Can he bounce back? Maybe. But right now, he's the MCU's most divisive hero, trapped between legacy and modernity. Tom Holland, Spider-Man. Tom Holland's Spider-Man swings between fanboy icon and actual fanboy, with zero pretense. If you've ever seen him geek out over meeting Robert Downey Jr., you know why fans adore him. He's the rare MCU star who acts like a fan of his own franchise. When he landed the role at 19, he described it as a dream come true, and he's never stopped radiating that enthusiasm. His Peter Parker feels authentic because, well, he is. Off-screen, he throws himself into the role physically, racking up injuries doing his own stunts, dancing between takes, and playfully teasing Chris Hemsworth about how his chiseled physique accidentally ruins shots. Fans eat this up. Even his lighter controversies feel wholesome. There's the time he inadvertently disrupted Hemsworth's scene by cracking up at his exaggerated British accent, later joking about the absurdity of the moment. After No Way Home shattered box office records, he emphasized his commitment to delivering the best version of Spider-Man for the audience, framing it as a responsibility rather than a personal achievement. Contrast that with the drama surrounding other MCU stars, and it's clear why he remains a fan favorite. At 28, he's still the MCU's golden boy, no cape needed. Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk. When Tatiana Maslany was cast as She-Hulk, Fans hoped for a fresh spin on Marvel's legal comedy hybrid. The premise seemed promising, a superpowered attorney navigating both courtroom drama and superhero chaos. However, the show's execution polarized audiences. By breaking the fourth wall, mocking Marvel's formula, and leaning into self-aware humor, She-Hulk alienated viewers expecting a traditional superhero story.
Hit it over the head that it's like a female series or whatever. But I do think it is up for discussion and up for other people's opinion and up for, judgments on her body and all of that.
The infamous twerking scene with Megan Thee Stallion became a sticking point, with critics arguing it epitomized the show's tonal confusion. The backlash intensified when the finale introduced an AI named Kevin, a jab at Marvel's Kevin Feige, which openly mocked toxic fandom and online critics. Instead of winning over detractors, the episode framed critics as part of the problem, deepening the divide.
Judgments on her body and all of that. So we kind of head-on face all of these things that surprisingly are coming up, in online forums or whatever, where people have
Maslany herself became a lightning rod. In interviews, she emphasized the show's feminist themes, stating it aimed to confront online scrutiny of women's bodies and autonomy. Fans interpreted this as dismissive, particularly when she doubled down on the show's divisive elements. Later, her public criticism of Disney CEO Bob Iger during labor disputes, calling him completely out of touch, added fuel to the fire, sparking speculation about her future in the MCU. Despite the controversy, She-Hulk wasn't without defenders. Some viewers admired its audacity, calling it a bold experiment that challenged superhero tropes. Yet for many, the show's meta-commentary and perceived lack of respect for the MCU's legacy overshadowed its potential. Maslany's She-Hulk was a role that could have redefined Marvel's approach, but instead became its most polarizing experiment. Chris Hemsworth, Thor. Let's talk about the guy who made Hammer Time a running joke. Chris Hemsworth's Thor started off pretty basic in 2011, but evolved into the MCU's lovable goofball. Credit goes to Taika Waititi's Thor, Ragnarok, which let Hemsworth embrace self-deprecation. His chemistry with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and Hemsworth's own dancing in the post-credits scene made Ragnarok a cult classic. Fans love him for being unapologetically Chris. He talks about his gym addiction, mocks his own abs, and has a great sense of humor with every cast he works with. But here's why he's untouchable. Thor's journey mirrors Hemsworth's own. From a fish-out-of-water Asgardian to a broken, beer-bellied wanderer in Love and Thunder, he's embraced every absurdity. Jared Leto, Morbius. In 2022, Sony released Morbius, a Spider-Man spin-off so absurd it broke the internet. Jared Leto's take on the living vampire included licking walls, shouting, "I did it," after turning into a vampire, and a CGI face that looked like a raccoon. Fans roasted it relentlessly. Critics called it the worst film of the year, and it flopped hard, leading to a $73 million loss at the box office. But Leto leaned in, joking about how he was just happy to be part of the meme economy. The backlash spilled into his other roles. At a House of Gucci premiere, someone yelled at him to lick the wall. Even his Oscar nomination felt ironic. Today, Morbius is shorthand for cinematic disaster, and Leto's the poster boy. Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange. Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is the MCU's most chaotic genius, and fans can't get enough of his snark. Imagine playing a superhero whose entire arc is stop being a jerk. That's Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, a neurosurgeon turned sorcerer who's equal parts arrogant and endearing. Fans love his dry wit, but Cumberbatch's real win is balancing gravitas with humor. In Multiverse of Madness, he's thrust into a multiverse crisis and still cracks jokes about alternate selves. Critics praised his performance as emotionally layered, especially his bond with America Chavez, played by MCU newcomer Xochitl Gomez. Off-screen, he's a masterclass in PR. At D23, he called Wanda's arc tragic, not evil, and fans respected his defense of the character. Unlike some stars, he avoids drama, unless you count his many press tour memes. Finn Jones, Iron Fist. Finn Jones' Iron Fist became Marvel's most forgettable hero, and fans never forgave him. In 2017, Marvel and Netflix tried to launch a kung fu billionaire named Danny Rand. The result? A $70 million flop. Finn Jones' Iron Fist was a mix of bad writing and worse execution. He whined about his dragon power, had zero chemistry with the Defenders, and delivered most of his lines with all the charisma of a spreadsheet. Fans roasted his basic bro vibe, and critics slammed the show for cultural insensitivity. By 2018, Netflix canceled it, and Jones's career took a massive hit. But here's the kicker: Jones doubled down. In 2020, he framed the backlash as disappointing, insisting the show was misunderstood. Fans replied with brutal honesty. The fight scenes looked laughably low budget, and the writing felt like a parody of itself. Today, he's a trivia question, not a Marvel icon.